My father was a fighter in his youth. I remember, 1971 or so, when I was about 6 years old, and they would have cocktail parties at the house. Those type of thin tie cocktail parties with the little glass and then the cool furniture. And I was in my PJs. Lyle was there, probably with his thumb in his mouth, and we would be there just before they shuffled us off to bed. I remember hearing and seeing my dad gesticulating madly in the corner there with his drink on the table at some opponent that he was having a heated argument with. And the most aggressive fighting was going on. And my mom tells me that that's how he was all through his young life. That they met each other in high school, and my dad was on the attack all the time with anybody that didn't agree with what he said. This video, by the way, is dedicated to Mr. Ross Sexton and your wonderful video, What is Science? In Ross's video, he does a great job of describing the scientific method and an amazing distinction between how science operates by critiquing its own ideas, by trying to disprove its own ideas versus trying to show that they're right. It's a critical distinction between the way science operates and other methods of thought. So thank you, Ross, for that. This is what keyed off this whole video. And I remember that my father, when he was in his argumentative state, that he represented a very in hindsight now, thinking about it, he represented a very unscientific mind in terms of he was attacking those who didn't believe, who didn't follow or ascribe to what he was saying. He was trying to prove that they were wrong and he was right. You're wrong, I'm right. That's what my dad was doing in his younger years. And keep in mind Ross's point there about how science operates to prove that its own ideas are wrong, not proving other people are wrong. It's a very critical distinction. My dad was doing the exact opposite. Contrast that then, go ahead 15 years or so into the 80s, and you meet Grizzly. Grizzly, a very, very different man. You go to a party, and I was old enough to stay up late at those parties, and he had some amazing parties. And you stay up late past 9 o'clock or so, and you'd see Grizzly sitting there on the couch, his arms hung out, he's got his beer at his side, and he's just laughing, a big old fluffy beard, wild hair, and he's just laughing outrageously, and they're still talking about deep, profound ideas. That was the nature of the things that he and his friends talked about. They were really interested in the universe and the world, but I almost never heard them on the attack. Once in a while with Wildman, his best friend, his lifelong friend, a true peer in terms of prowess and wordsmith, and ability to fight, and they loved it. It was almost like to someone who enjoys boxing. He likes to get in the rink once in a while and have it out and get beaten up a little bit. It was more for pleasure than anything else. So once in a while, he and Wildman would fight it out. It was a beautiful thing to watch as well. But for the most part, he never went on the attack. You never saw him back somebody into the corner, because of their ideas, and you never saw him stand up and spill his drink and, waving his hands wildly. Just that man was completely gone. So the first part of his life, he was on the attack. The second part of his life, he was on the party. But in all phases of life, he was in the stage of inquiry and critical thinking. Now, what happened to him? Well, I think that, if I can use Ross's video and his description of what science is, I think my father woke up to and began applying the scientific way of thinking to his living. Instead of spending his time attacking the beliefs and the theories and the hypotheses of others, he spent his idle free time and engaged the energies of others when they became available to him in attacking his own ideas, in trying to piece apart his way of thinking and trying to find flaws in the worldviews that he was tempted to embrace. I saw him do this frequently with his friends. He would propose an idea and ask for others to help him find where it was wrong. That is the scientific methodology right there. And as a result, because he was only after the disproof of his own ideas, he had nothing to defend. And even if he had, in his own mind, proven something to be wrong, even if he was satisfied that it was true, if someone else could show him otherwise, and because his ego was no longer involved, if that could happen, then he had only to gain and by being disproved. So there was one of the key elements there was the decrease in ego associated with the ideas, that he disconnected his beliefs from his sense of self-worth, and that was another distinction between his older years and his younger years, where in his younger years an attack on his beliefs was an attack on him personally and his intelligence, and that was completely gone. So I think what we can see there is how Ross's demonstration of how scientific method views the world and approaches the world can really make, if we apply it in our personal lives, just to our own way of living and our own thinking, it can make a really big difference in our well-being. We go from being a suited up, armored knight, sword in the hand, ready to defend our beliefs and our ideas. We change from that into a Hawaiian shirt-clad beach bum. Well, I mean, that just happens to be the clothes that I wear because hey, that's what I want to be. That's what I want to be. Yeah, I want to be a Hawaiian. That's what I want to be. I want to be a Hawaiian. I'm inspired by my dad. That's what he was. He wore a lot of Hawaiian shirts too. I want to be like my dad, and I want to allow my ego to fade away enough that I can relax and think and enjoy discourse with others, and then take on when time comes for attack. It will all be inward. It will be on said, "Hi, dog," and there's a beagle. And it will all be simply a matter of trying to show where my own fallacies lie, to expose them, and then to move on, to adjust my worldview accordingly, and then to move on. And it doesn't mean that there's no time for true engaging, no time for forensic debate. That's certainly plenty of time for that when you've got a partner that wants to enjoy that together. My old friend Eric, Eric long gone. He was my wild man in a way. He was the one guy that we could enjoy argument for the sheer sake of an argument, to see how we could construct our houses of cards, who could make the best house of cards, and who could blow the hardest to bring it down. What a beautiful, fun thing that was. But never in anger, and never with any malicious intent to harm one another or to wound their pride or their worldview. It was always a matter of just fun. And likewise for life itself. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and take a lesson from Grizzly and a lesson from Ross Sexton and apply the scientific way of thinking to my own life. Take on my own values and my own views first, and reconstruct from the fallen blocks as the best I can, and then move forward with joy and delight in the chance to share with others and to learn from others. There we go. I'm going to turn the guns on myself. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.